you start by stating your name?
Jack Burrage.
And what was your rank in Trinity House when you left?
Principal keeper.
And can you say when you joined and where?
I joined February 1947 and I retired from the Lizard 1983.
So what sort of lighthouses have you been on?
Well, I'd done 11 lighthouses as a supernumerary. That was in 12 months.
Yeah.
Then I got appointed to the Needles as an assistant keeper. And then from then I went on to Bishop Rock, Nash Point, South Bishop,
Yeah.
Skerries, Cromer, Lizard, and I retired from the Lizard as an attendant here at Lowestoft.
Where did you join?
Blackwall.
Yeah.
Blackwall, yeah.
How long did you do there?
I was stationed at Blackwall for about 6 months.
Yeah.
I was the SAK at Blackwall for the Chapman Lighthouse, which is gone now. And I went out there a couple of times, and then they transferred me down to East Cowes.
Can you tell us a bit about the Chapman Lighthouse?
The Chapman Lighthouse was, yeah, it was on 3 legs. And there was only enough room for 2 keepers on there. And only 1 keeper at a time could be in the bedroom. And I was told from the depot to go out to Canvey Island and stand on the bank and wave my hands. And they lowered the boat into the water and rowed in and fetched me. The PK went to a union meeting and I was rowed back to the Chapman. I was there for 3 days. When the PK had finished his union business, he came to the bank and waved his hands, and we lowered the boat and went in and fetched him and dropped me, and I went back to Blackwall. Oh, it was a small, poky little place, it was.
What was the light like on it?
It was a 25 millimetre, I think, or a 50. I'm not quite sure on that. But there was only 2 of us on there.
It was IOB?
Yeah, as far as I can remember. We used to, in the evenings, we used to have a row around the bay in the rowing boat.
How about the Bishop Rock?
Ah, now you're talking a different thing there. That's a lovely station, the Bishop was. You could get out to the kitchen, that sitting room made a big difference. I was there for 3 years. I was there with Bob Ratty to start with. And we had a right old time there. But that was when we were doing 2 months out and 1 month home. But I liked the Bishop. Seems a good station. But I was glad to get off in the end. Then I came ashore and went to Nash Point. I was there for 10 years, Nash Point. And I got made up PK from Nash Point. My father was there before me. He was there for 10 years. And altogether, I spent 25 years at Nash Point. 10 with my father and about 15 in my own right. Because I was still living in the spare cottage when I was on the South Bishop. And then when they transferred me to Skerries, the wife moved up to Holyhead. And then we used to come ashore then into Holyhead.
You were telling me about some mad relief days at Mackenzie Pier.
Oh yeah, Mackenzie, dear, yes. Yeah, midnight. Terrible, terrible. Loads of gear, heavy gear. Taken to the launch, out to the boat. And hauling them up the side of the ship and taking them down into the hold. Oh dear, dear. And we'd all been in the pub. We didn't like it one little bit. We used to shudder when they say, right, Mackenzie midnight. It was a lot better to have the relief in the morning.
So you've done most of your reliefs by winch, I suppose?
Yeah.
On these lighthouses?
Yeah. The Skerries was the only one you could jump. You could jump, well, sometimes on the South Bishop. Very rarely though, on South Bishop. You could do it though, but Skerries was always step out of the boat onto the landing. But all the others has been in the hoist. Put the foot in the bowl in, another one over the top, and away you go.
And all the hand winch job.
All hand winch, yeah. Yeah, if they didn't rough, but they didn't pull you up fast enough, you was in the drink, especially on the Bishop Rock.
How about overdues?
No, very lucky, very lucky. 3 days, I think, is my most. Is the most. That was on the Bishop Rock. So I've been very lucky in 3 years. I mean, they can go to 14 days, more than that sometimes. Very fortunate.
How about grubbing up in the 50s sort of era? What did you do then? Sort of...
Yeah, well, of course, I used to take the fresh meat out. And the first job would be chop it up and put it into jam jars and cook it in the oven and seal it with fat, and it would last all month. But I can't remember what the bills used to come to. They weren't very much for a month. About £20, I think. But you wouldn't get that today.
Did you fish at all to...
Fish with a kite.
Have you done that?
Yeah, lovely on the Eddystone. Oh, lovely place, Eddystone was for fishing. Used to spend all day fishing with a kite.
Can you explain how you did it?
Well, it's just an ordinary kite that you held in your hand with a long tail on it, and the tail used to be on the set-off. So you let the kite go and it would drag the lure in through the water. Then you'd fish, you put a tack on, and the kite would go backwards and forwards until you got a bite. Then you'd shoot up. Then you'd pull the kite in until you got it on the gallery. Then you'd get a hammer or a spanner and hit the gallery rail, and the cook would run down and unhook the fish. That's true.
Yeah.
And then he'd make sure your lure was all right, which in those days was a bit of chamois leather, dipped in red ink, because we had no means of getting any bait or anything. We did try and get feathers out of the pillowcases, but that wasn't very successful. But still, chamois leather with red paint, or red ink, and they go for that. And get lovely bass, pollock. We used to go down on a landing with a bucket and a heaving line and wait for a shoal of mackerel to go through. You just throw the bucket over and you come back up, you've got a bucket full of mackerel. And throw them back in again because you had no use for them. And conger eels, we had them hanging all around the side of the tower. The fishermen used to come out from Plymouth, and we used to give them to him for bait for his pots. Marvellous place for fishing. There was anything like, we used to try and land them on the stump if we could, just for a bit of fun. All day long we were at that, because in them days there was no, well, there was a wireless, but you had to be so careful about the battery. You know, battery ran out, so we used to use it for the news only. No television, nothing. So you had to make your own recreation.
I noticed your hobby now is making windmills.
Oh, I do windmills, I do weather vanes, I do helicopters. I'll have a go at anything, as long as it's not too strenuous.
So what did you do when you was on a lighthouse?
Ships in bottles. There we are. There's one there. I mean, that one is South Bishop.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I got to Skerries, I was getting orders for so many of them I had to pack it in. I used to send up to Mark Inch in Scotland for 24 dimple bottles from Higgs, and they would send them down and deliver them into Holyhead Depot, and they used to go out the relief, and I used to come ashore with 24 dimple bottles with ships in.
Never had them delivered full then?
No, but the old bosun in the depot always used to tell me that they were full bottles, and I used to swear blind, no, they're empty bosun, and he would never believe me. Yeah. No, I had to pack that in because my eyesight went a bit, you know, and I had the order up the arm, the length of my arm, for ships in bottles, but I just couldn't cope. So I made the wife one, and even that one got sold. So the next one I made for the wife, I put the two boys' names on it, so that she couldn't forget. There's great demand they were.
What was your favourite station?
Nash Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going on the Welsh coast?
Without a doubt. Yeah. Well, to me, really, I went there when I was 2-year-old, and I left there when I got made PK in 63. And as far as I'm concerned, that's my home. I loved it there. Although I've settled down wherever I've been. Holyhead, Lizard, Cromer. Always liked it wherever we've been. And now of course we're at Lowestoft and it's a smashing place.
You have family, don't you?
Yeah, I got 2 boys. Well, I had 2 boys.
So
One boy is in Shrewsbury, Peter. He's working as a porter in the hospital. My other boy went out to Saudi Arabia to earn some money to come back to England to start up a business. And he came back the day before Christmas and he died on Boxing Day. He left 3 young children. So that was a hell of a shock.
Did you miss much of their growing up being on Lighthouses?
Yeah. This boy I'm telling about now, he was born in Nash. Yes, my boy, when I was on the Bishop Rock, excuse me, the eldest boy, I used to walk in on the relief and he used to be playing on the mat and he'd look up at me as if to say, who the hell are you? And you know, I didn't like it, so you know, you soon get used to that. When they got a bit bigger, they were looking forward to you coming home. But when you think of the boys looking at you and saying, oh, who the hell are you?
Do you ever get homesick then on the Lighthouse? Or does it
No, I don't think I was ever homesick. No. It was just part of your job. You went out there, you landed and you think, hello, I'm here for 2 months, and that's it. But when you come to the 7th week, you're looking forward to the relief to get ashore.
Do you ever go out with any strange characters? A bit like that?
Oh no, you had some very awkward people at times. But again, I was lucky. I had some really good mates. I had 1 or 2 very, very awkward buggers. But otherwise, they were pretty good. Of course, I suppose they're saying that about me and all. You're an awkward old bugger.
I suppose you spent a few Christmases on Lighthouses as well.
Yes, a few. I didn't have many at ashore. We used to get parcels on the Bishop Rock sent out to us from school children. And it was the cake, the big bakers of cake, and all the fruit would drop to the bottom of the cake. And you'd get half a bar of chocolate. You'd get a packet of tea opened, half gone. You know what they've taken from the mother. And they took them all to school and they packed them in a parcel and sent them out to Bishop Rock. We used to laugh. But still the thought was there.
Yeah.
We used to land the mail by kite at Bishop Rock. They used to put a notice on the quay in St Mary's for the visitors. Landing mail at the Bishop Rock. And the boats used to come out loaded up with people. And they'd have the daily papers and the wife taking the mail down. And we'd fly the kite out until the tail was dangling in the water. Then they'd grab the tail and they'd tie the mail on and we'd pull it in. And take our mail off, of course, that we were sending. Well, that was a daily thing, weather permitting, of course. We've had bottles of beer, strawberries and cream, and all pulled up on the kite.
Did you get many storms, really rough ones on Lighthouses?
Yeah, on the Bishop was a nasty one. I was up in the lantern once doing the brass work. It was a Monday morning job really, but I had nothing to do on the Sunday afternoon. So I went up there to start cleaning the brass, the ventilators, you know, the big ventilators.
Yeah.
And everything went into darkness. A sea had come right over the top. And that was 130 foot up. Now that was, and of course they shuddered like hell. But as long as they were shuddering, you're safe.
So you never felt scared in the lighthouse in a storm?
When you first go off there, you're not actually scared. You're a bit apprehensive, you know. When your feet, you're not standing on something that's shuddering. You're laying in your bunk and you're shaking, but you get used to that. And I've seen young boys come off; they've been scared. I had one came off to me once, and in those days the keeper used to have to paint the roof. So I said to him in the morning, I said, "Jock, we're going up to do the roof in the morning." I said, "You start one way at the back and I'll come the other way and we'll both meet at the ladder." So I started off and I came round to the ladder. There was no sign of Jock. So I said, "Where are you, Jock? Are you finished?" Good God, he says, "No, I can't move." He was gripping all tight. So I had to get down and call, I think it was Harry Whitehouse, called him up. And the two of us went up and we had to really be rough with him, you know, for him to let go. He was nervous as hell. And I'd asked him beforehand if he was all right with heights. And he told me he was. But afterwards he said he didn't realise that he was scared of heights. Then we got him down. And he never went up there again.
Right, thanks very much
All
for
right.
your help.
That's it then.